What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. It's been evident that the Clippers always looked at Marcus Morris as their third best player, and they've always believed in him. The question is, as I've always asked, can he be consistent? Can he continue to be consistent at what he's good at? Scoring when needed, playing defense, and giving him consistency with the jump shot, in which that's what he's good at. You ask yourself the question because you don't see it often. Now, I will say here lately, I've been impressed by Marcus Morris. And then my question is, which is the same question as always, can he continue playing this well? Can he continue giving the Clippers what they need? Now, of course, they lost to the Phoenix Suns last night, and that's understandable. The Suns are just a juggernaut team. But, he did contribute. He did, play his part. And the last 4 or 5, I say the last 6 games, he's been playing fairly decent. He had 23-point game. He did have 11-point game in there. That wasn't that great, but he only took like 6 shots or something like that. He had another 20-point game before that, I think against Dallas, a 21-point game. Then he had, 20-plus point game against the Lakers, and he had another 20-plus point game against the Milwaukee Bucks. So, I'd say the last 6 to 8 games, overall, he's been averaging about close to 20 points a game. And this is what I'm saying. Can he continue doing this? Because this is what the Clippers need. The Clippers are definitely shorthanded. Now we know there's a possibility Paul George can possibly come back. A possible set date for his return, potentially. But at the same time, will he continue doing what he's doing? Because it's funny how I've always said the Clippers, no matter if Kawhi or Paul George is healthy, there or not, they kind of go how Marcus Morris goes. When Marcus Morris plays good, when everybody's there, they win. They hardly ever lose when Marcus Morris plays bad, as long as they got, honestly, as long as they got at least one of the superstars there. If they got both the superstars there, then they definitely not going to lose. But it's funny, every time Marcus Morris plays well, they always seem to do good, or they always seem to win most of the time. So it's like, the thing with the Clippers is, even if Kawhi and PG is there, he still needs to be a factor. I've said it last year. He still needs to be a factor regardless. Even though Reggie Jackson could play at the level that he can, Marcus Morris still needs to be a factor. Understand one thing. They decided to keep this guy after the trade deadline. They didn't trade him. And a lot of people thought he was going to get traded, including myself, just because of his ways, of his inconsistency. And a lot of NBA fans and analysts look at him like he's a liability at times, and he definitely has the talent to help a team win. He definitely has the bravado, of course. He definitely is a tough guy, definitely go out there and plays with an edge. He plays both ends of the floor, and he can knock down shots at a high clip when he has it going. But the thing is it going to be when you need it the most? Is it going to be in the playoffs? And in the playoffs, seems like he always seems to, come up short. And you see some games in the regular season where his inconsistency is there, but he's still always shown that he was a really good, solid player. He's always shown that, throughout his career. So you have to understand when you have a player like him, expectations should be high because he's paid very handsomely well, and he definitely should be able to produce. And I hope that he continues shooting, the ball at a high clip, because those games I just mentioned where he scored over 20 points and all the last 5, 6, 7, 8 games, he shot a really good percentage. He was shooting efficient while he was doing it. He wasn't shooting like a horrible percentage. So this is the guy I think that's really an X factor for the Clippers. And I've always said that he has to be, because he's the type of guy where he can defend, and he's got a pretty decent mid-range, and he can knock down a 3 at a high clip when he's got it going, So when you look at that, the Clippers could do a lot of good things if he's there, healthy, playing consistent, and Paul George comes back possibly, and even, let's say, Norman Powell comes back soon. They could be a really good team. They could be a really tough out until Kawhi Leonard steps back on the floor. They could be a really tough out if they can get this team going and get some consistency here. Like I said, the only thing is you just don't know what Marcus Morris you're going to get from night to night. And like I said, here lately, I want to give him credit. He's been playing really good. And I hate to kind of do this because every time I seem to give him credit, he always seems to stab me in the back, basically, and go back out there and have a night where he scores like 8 points, and then he'll have another night where he scores like 6 points, and it's just always back and forth with him. But I'm telling you, Clipper Nation, if you're able to get any consistency out of this guy, I definitely think the Clippers got a way better chance of doing a lot of good things, even without Kawhi Leonard being there, or maybe even, hopefully Paul George comes back. But they got a chance of doing a lot of good things, even without Kawhi Leonard being there, because they have another scorer that they can count on. And the problem with Marcus Morris is counting on him at times is your worst enemy, because you just expect him to go out there and drop 18 to 20 points every game, especially when he's given the green light, and he just doesn't do it sometimes. But here lately, I got to give him credit, and I've been said I was going to make a video, about Marcus Morris, if he plays well and everything like that, if he can kind of continue to play well and show some signs of some continuity and just understanding that you're one of the main pieces right now. You know what I'm saying? You're not in that third, fourth spot role. You're in that first or second spot role. And with that being said, you've got to go out there and produce, and you got to produce at a high clip, and you can't miss a beat, because like I said, right now, the Clippers are in the 8th seed, but I mean, 1 or 2 games lost, they could be in the 9th seed on the outside looking in. And they're like 1 game above the Lakers right now, which is a mess of a team. But at the same time, the Clippers are still trying to fight to stay afloat. And the only way you're going to do that is to, be consistent as possible. Now, they did get a big win the other night against the Warriors, which I thought that was huge win, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you have to build on those type of wins, and they did. Now, the Phoenix Suns, I will say that's a tough team to beat. Not saying it is, or should I say, not saying they aren't a tough team, because they are. They're a really tough team to beat. They might be the best team in the NBA, and they definitely gave them a run. They made a comeback in that game, which was huge for the Clippers. That's definitely what they're known for doing. But only this time they weren't able to be successful with the comeback. But even still, you got a really good team, and like I said, you need the guys to step up who are supposed to. And Marcus Morris is one of those guys. And Marcus Morris should understand one thing: they didn't trade you, so they still find value in you. So with that being said, you got to come out and ball out every game as much as you can and be the best player you can be. Damn all the inconsistency and all the excuses about injuries and all that. Well, the whole Clippers team is injured. So newsflash, Marcus Morris, you got to be this way the rest of the season, and they should be able to count on you to do it. They gave you $64 million. No other team was going to give you $64 million, I don't believe. And if they would, then good for them, but I don't see it. And if another team did give him $64 million as a contract, it probably wouldn't be a team that's probably on the cusp of winning a championship, possibly. So you're still there. They still think highly of you. I was shocked that they ain't let Marcus Morris go and they let Serge go, but at the same time, they still kept Marcus Morris, and he has to be appreciative of that. But the only way to show his appreciation is to be consistent. And that's exactly what Clippers Nation is asking him to do. That's what the organization is asking him to do. So he's going to have to continue doing it, have to continue playing this way, and have to understand you got the green light. Between you and Reggie, y'all got the green light, both of y'all. So it's like you have to go out there, you have to play the way you're supposed to, and keep producing. I mean, I definitely love seeing Marcus Morris be aggressive with his jump shot, going to the basket, playing within his means. I definitely love seeing him do that, because one thing about Marcus Morris, I've always noticed, when his jump shot's falling, his defense is better. He plays defense better. And that's definitely what the Clippers need. And my thing with Marcus Morris is I don't want to see him play like this and have these good games, and then Kawhi or PG comes back, and then all of a sudden he falls back into that role of being inconsistent again. I don't like that. He's got to find a way to be consistent, and he's got to find a way to stay this way, for the rest of the season, because the Clippers need it. And like I said, the Clippers do not want to stay in that 7th, 8th seed, because you don't want to face the Warriors or the Suns in the first round if you don't have to. And like I said, the Clippers got good enough guys on that roster, even without Kawhi Leonard being there, where I think they can get to a 6 or 7 seed if Paul George comes back. So, with that being said, a lot of people believe he's going to come back, and he hasn't gotten the surgery. So that's definitely a good sign for him coming back. So, like I said, they need Marcus Morris to stay this way the rest of the season and going into the playoffs. Because if they get this Marcus Morris of just, trying to, taking selective shots, don't take crazy shots, play within your means, the Clippers will be just fine. I'm telling you, because he is one of those key ingredients to their success. He just is. Reggie Jackson can play good all he wants to if Kawhi and PG is there. But it's just, for some reason, when Marcus Morris plays good, they're almost unbeatable because you can't stop Kawhi and PG when they're healthy. And if Reggie Jackson go out there and knock down shots the way he can and break down defenses and get into the rack, and if Marcus Morris is out there lighting up threes or with the 17-foot mid-range and playing defense, they're almost unbeatable. And that's almost, even if Zubac doesn't even really give them much production at all, they're still almost unbeatable. So I expect to see this going forward for Marcus Morris. He's averaging about 19 points a game these last several games, shooting at a pretty high clip, over 44%, I believe. So I expect him to keep this up, and I expect him to be, continuously playing well and continuously having that green light. I know, like I said, the Clippers organization and Ty Lue believes in him, and I want to believe in him myself, but I just need to see more, and I need to see him be more consistent, and I need to see him do it when Kawhi and PG is there also, not have games where he falls off and all this other stuff. No, this is the year. This is the time. This is the time for Marcus Morris to really show his value. Especially now with everything the way it is. I need him to continue to play like this. Clippers Nation need him to continue to play, putting up close to 20 points a game on average, and don't miss a beat. But hey, that's my take on everything. You leave any comments in the comment section as always. And hey, Khaliis out.